Damn it! What kind of expert was this? He was nothing but a common charlatan. No wonder he'd managed to hoodwink so many people. So he'd cultivated some sort of beguiling voice art. But he likely couldn't have pulled off something of this scale, alone. It seemed quite a few in the crowd were his shills. Having grasped the truth, the protagonist inwardly shook his head. He was just about to leave. Who would have thought that when this Mo Yang was giving out the last spot, he actually chose? The protagonist? What was going on? Seeing the man walk towards him, the protagonist felt utterly exasperated. "You've got so many crazed followers behind you, why pick me? I appreciate the master's kind intentions, but I really don't need it." "Don't need it?" Seeing the protagonist. "Actually refuse," Mo Yang pressed on, unwilling to give up. "Are you certain? Don't disappoint this old man's goodwill." At this point, some in the crowd below also started to jeer. They accused the protagonist of not knowing what was good for him. Witnessing this, the protagonist could only smile and politely decline once more. But to his surprise, this Mo Yang seemed to have latched onto him. He gave off a strong vibe of, "I'm definitely going to win you over today." Ultimately, he completely ignored the protagonist's words, and without even offering a choice, he selected an item for him. "Shopkeeper, come over and ring up this young friend." As the shop owner approached to collect the money, the surrounding onlookers all expressed their envy. "Young friend, you've really lucked out. Just try not to get too excited." At this, the protagonist finally lost his patience. "Lucked out? My ass. Excited, your sister. If you want to scam people, go scam them. Why the hell do you have to pick on me? Is there any point in showing off again and again? I've given you enough face, haven't I?" This so-called artifact appraising master Mo Yang was actually a fraud, but unfortunately for him, he had provoked the protagonist. Unable to bear it any longer, the protagonist finally erupted. "I already said I don't want it. Why do you insist? On bothering me? I've given you enough face, haven't I?" Hearing the protagonist's words, Mo Yang's expression darkened slightly. "Young friend, is there perhaps some misunderstanding towards this Mo?" "Misunderstanding? Don't you know perfectly well what I'm talking about? You con your people and I'll mind my own business. Let's not interfere with each other. Just stop putting on that high and mighty act in front of me. Insolence." With these words, Mo Yang instantly flew into a rage. "I, Mo, obtained my appraiser's certification 30 years ago. I've helped people appraise treasures and solve their difficulties, always with a clear conscience. Never has anyone accused me of being a fraud." At this moment, the surrounding crowd also stepped forward, one after another, to condemn the protagonist. Seeing this, Mo Yang said smugly, "Moreover, I am a generous person. If you apologize immediately for what you just said, I can let bygones be bygones." Hearing this, a sarcastic smile touched the protagonist's lips. "Whether I was talking nonsense or not is very simple to verify. Just have the items they bought earlier polished, and we'll know the result." "Polish them?" "The items I selected for them are all large pieces. They would require at least half a day to polish. Besides, I have urgent matters to attend to." Before the protagonist could speak, Mo Yang continued, "Are you trying to say you don't have time to stay because you have a guilty conscience? You want to leave so you can clear my name for me? Damn it, a professional con man indeed. He's even planned his escape route," the protagonist thought. Just then, another onlooker stepped forward to speak up for Mo Yang. "If you've got the skills, pick one for us to see." "Indeed, since you claim I'm a fraud. You must have some knowledge of appraisal yourself," Mo Yang interjected, seizing the opportunity. "How about this? I'll give you a chance. You can pick a simple treasure. As long as it appreciates in value, we'll let bygones be bygones. But if you appraise it incorrectly, then you must pay the price today." Hearing this, the protagonist was momentarily stunned. "You want me to appraise a treasure?" Truth be told, he was practically walking into the line of fire. With the Heaven's Path library in his possession, if he claimed to be second best in appraisal, With the Heaven's Path library, if he claimed to be second best in appraisal, no one would dare claim to be first. And this guy wanted to compete with him, he immediately agreed, then turned to look at the shop owner. However, can I select the treasure first and then pay after you've polished it and confirmed the price? The shop owner flatly refused the protagonist's request. No way. Pay first, then get the item. That's the rule. Otherwise, what if it's worthless after polishing and you don't want it? Or if it's too valuable and we don't want to sell, it'll be impossible to explain. At this moment, Mo Yang suddenly stepped forward, looking magnanimous. Shopkeeper, let him pick whatever he wants first. I'll pay for it. If it's a gain, it's yours. If it's a loss, just apologize to me as we agreed earlier. Upon hearing this, the protagonist quickly interjected. Should have said so sooner. In that case, I won't be polite. Thank you, Master. Holy crap! Mo Yang nearly coughed up blood when he saw this. This kid was too shameless. He was just putting on an act. However, the protagonist gave him no chance to back out. He strode quickly to the counter and picked up a stone. This one will do, he said, tossing it to the shop owner. All right, polish it right here. Let everyone watch so no one can claim any tricks later. Clearly not expecting the protagonist to say this, the shop owner hesitated and looked at Mo Yang. Mo Yang, however, looked utterly disdainful. Just let him. It'll make him give up. Receiving the cue, the shop owner placed the stone on the polishing machine. Let's see how arrogant you can be after this worthless rock is polished in a moment. Mo Yang sneered inwardly, equally derisive. The reason I let you pick a small item is because these are all just rocks picked up from the roadside. Trying to expose me? You're still too green, kid. However, to everyone's astonishment, after the polishing was finished, a piece of exquisite jade was found inside. This was one of the primary materials for forging ghost-tier weapons. Every piece was immensely valuable, and it was a priceless commodity with no market. Staring at the exquisite jade in his hand, the shop owner was dumbfounded. This! How can exquisite jade be a roadside rock? At this point, Mo Yang was also thoroughly shocked. But on the surface, he remained stubborn. You just got lucky. Picking one correctly doesn't mean anything. With that, he hurriedly tried to leave. Seeing him about to slip away, the protagonist spoke up. Even if you have urgent matters, a few minutes won't hurt, right? I still have a few things. I'd like to ask your guidance on... What things? Mo Yang turned his head, puzzled. The protagonist walked over to the old man who had previously bought the ornamental vase. If I'm not mistaken, this thing you spent 80,000 gold coins on is actually a piece of junk that could shatter at any moment. Junk? Are you kidding me? The master helped me pick this. If you don't believe me, just gently pinch the bottleneck and you'll know. Hearing this, the old man showed a hesitant expression. To pinch or not to pinch? Don't worry. If it's genuine, no matter how fragile, the bottleneck won't be affected. But if it's junk, it'll shatter with a single pinch. After hearing the protagonist's words, the old man decided to test it. Just as he pinched the bottleneck, cracks actually appeared there. In the next second, the entire ornamental vase completely shattered. What's going on? What's going on? You'll have to ask this Master Mo Yang. If I'm not mistaken, he and this shop owner are probably in cahoots. They attract everyone's attention under the guise of artifact appraisal, then make you spend a fortune on purchases so they can rake in exorbitant profits. Isn't that right, Master Yang Mo? Within the protagonist's mind resided an existence that knew all things, the Heaven's Path Library. The unsuspecting swindler had intended to profit from him, only to be publicly humiliated by him instead. What surprised this fake master even more was that the protagonist had even called out his real name, Yang Mo. The onlookers heard, Yang Mo? That name sounds familiar. Where have I heard it before? Isn't Yang Mo the con artist wanted by the Liuju Kingdom? A con artist? Then aren't all these things we bought fakes? Hearing the crowd's discussion, Yang Mo also began to panic. Everyone, don't listen to this kid's nonsense. Even appraisal masters make mistakes sometimes. One treasure doesn't prove anything. However, before he could finish his sentence, someone had already smashed open the treasure they had bought. Seeing the ground littered with broken stones, their face turned incredibly grim. I actually spent 60,000 gold coins on a damn rock! Witnessing this, more and more people realized they had been scammed. They surged forward, demanding an explanation. We can talk this over. Everything is negotiable, right? Seeing his scheme exposed, Yang Mo quickly begged for mercy. But it was no use. A sound thrashing was definitely in order. The protagonist, standing to the side, offered a 3-second moment of silence before quietly departing. As he strolled idly, he noticed a bookstore by the roadside. Huang Yu Bookstore? What a suggestive name. But since it's a bookstore, perhaps they'll have the cultivation techniques and secret manuals I'm looking for. After some thought, he stepped inside. The shopkeeper was a young lady who, upon seeing a customer arrive, hurried forward to greet him. "Young master, are you here to buy books or to read? Do you have any 6th-level martial artist cultivation technique manuals here?" Hearing the protagonist's question, the young lady was momentarily taken aback. Then, an embarrassed smile appeared on her face. "Each of those cultivation techniques is incredibly valuable. Our small business hardly qualifies to sell such items." Hearing the reply, the protagonist wasn't overly surprised. He tried asking again, "Then, do you know where they might be sold?" "Sold?" The young lady thought carefully. "Many powerful experts collect quite a few cultivation techniques of that level in their homes." Sensing a lead, the protagonist quickly pressed further. "Do you happen to know which senior expert might have such books in their home?" "I do know of one, but he's famously eccentric. If he's in a good mood, you could carry off all the books in his house and it wouldn't matter. If he's in a bad mood, you won't even get through the door." Hearing this, the protagonist found it rather intriguing that such a person existed. He couldn't help but feel curious. He was about to ask where he could find this person, but it turned out the young lady was heading there as well. So, she decided to take the protagonist with her. Walking down the street, the protagonist asked curiously, "This person you mentioned, does he have a lot of books at home?" Of course. He is a renowned great scholar of the kingdom, His Majesty Shenjui's former teacher. At this point, the young lady's expression suddenly turned serious. "This old Mr. Lu Chen despises juniors who speak carelessly. You'd best not open your mouth casually otherwise, if you want to ask him to borrow books to read. You won't even get a foot in the door. Also, when it comes to borrowing books, you'll have to ask yourself. Don't mess up my affairs." Hearing the young lady's admonition, the protagonist nodded with a smile. "Don't worry. I won't make things difficult for you." However, the young lady still seemed uneasy. She continued to chatter incessantly along the way. Before long, the two arrived at Master Lu Chen's residence. Looking at the excessively low-key entrance, the protagonist was somewhat surprised. "This is where the Imperial Tutor resides?" The young lady beside him also sensed his confusion and explained, "Old Mr. Lu Chen has lived frugally his entire life. His Majesty Shen Jue offered to rebuild his residence, but he sternly refused." Just as the two were talking, the sound of horse hooves approached from a distance and stopped beside them. "Xiao Yu? What a coincidence, you're here too." This young man on a white horse seemed to be quite familiar with the young lady. "My name is Huang Yu, don't be so overly familiar. We're not that close yet. Considering the relationship between our two families, calling you Xiao Yu isn't a big deal." From their conversation, the protagonist, standing to the side, gathered that the reason they were both here seemed to be for something in Master Lu Chen's possession. Just as the protagonist was about to quietly be an uninvolved spectator, the young man suddenly looked at him. "Xiao Yu, how could you bring an outsider here?" Huang Yu retorted disdainfully. "Who I bring is none of your damn business." "How is it not your business?" "No matter who it is. I advise you to stay away from such people. Don't let anyone tarnish you." "Damn it! He could get caught in the crossfire even like this. What kind of person I am is none of your concern." Hearing the protagonist speak, the man frowned and stared at him. Huang Yu at the side also showed a surprised expression. "Do you even know who he is? How dare you speak to him like that?" The protagonist curled his lip dismissively. "I don't care who he is." "He's Bai Shun, the only son of the Prince of Zhenan," the young lady whispered into the protagonist's ear. "The Prince of Zhenan is known as the most powerful official in the Tianshuan kingdom. If you offend his only son, it will be difficult to get by in the Tianshuan kingdom in the future." Hearing this, a bitter expression appeared on the protagonist's face. He thought inwardly, was this body's previous owner even from this world? How come I have no impression of any of this? Huang Yu brought the protagonist to Master Lu Chen's residence, where they coincidentally ran into Bai Shun, the son of the Prince of Zhenan. However, the protagonist, being a transmigrator, didn't recognize any Prince of Zhenan at all. Seeing his dazed look, Huang Yu was utterly astonished. "You're not from outer space, are you?" Just then, the main gate was opened. Bai Shun was the first to step forward. "Uncle Cheng, I hope to receive the master's guidance once more." Uncle Cheng saw that the visitors were Bai Shun and Huang Yu. He immediately invited them in. Walking through the courtyard, seeing the surrounding layout, the protagonist was filled with emotion. What a natural, unadorned ink wash painting. This remark unexpectedly caught Uncle Cheng's attention. "This young master has attainments in painting? Just a casual observation, nothing more." Hearing the protagonist say this, Uncle Cheng also expressed his agreement. "Our old master uses his heart as a brush and the courtyard as paper, rendering the entire residence as if it were a painted scroll. The young master is indeed not mistaken." Before long, the group arrived at the living room. After settling the three of them, Uncle Cheng left to inform Master Lu Chen. At this time, Huang Yu looked at the protagonist curiously. "You understand painting?" The protagonist smiled. "I merely thought the courtyard's layout resembled a painting, that's all." Bai Shun at the side looked utterly disdainful. "Xiao Yu, don't listen to his nonsense. This fellow is just being pretentious and deliberately mystifying." "Pretentious? What do you know?" Huang Yu immediately retorted, unconvinced. And then, this pair of bickering rivals started at it again. Over here, Huang Yu was praising the protagonist to the skies, claiming he was proficient in everything from zither and chess to calligraphy and painting. While over there, Bai Shun believed he was nothing but a fraud. And just like that, the protagonist was once again innocently caught in the crossfire. "If you two want to argue, then argue. Why drag me into it?" Just then, someone walked in. Upon seeing him, Huang Yu and Bai Shun both rose to their feet and went to greet him. "Greetings, master." However, this Imperial Tutor paid them no heed. Instead, he looked directly at the protagonist. "I heard just now that someone recognized the layout of my courtyard as an ink wash painting. How rare for a young person nowadays to still possess such refined taste. Master, this fellow is just talking nonsense. Pay him no mind." Hearing Bai Shun's words, Lu Chen's eyes narrowed. "Did I ask you to speak?" Then, his expression shifted to a smile as he walked towards the protagonist. "Since you understand painting, I happen to have a piece of work here. Help me appraise it as well." Saying so, he unrolled the scroll. A landscape painting was displayed before everyone. Seeing this, Huang Yu quickly leaned over to remind him, "He really likes to test people. Anyway, I was tested by him when I came. If you say the right thing, you can borrow as many books as you want. But if you say the wrong thing, then—" Hearing this, The protagonist felt incredibly frustrated. If he had known this earlier, he wouldn't have bothered speaking up in the courtyard. Now he was being asked to appraise it, but what the hell did he know? Seeing the other party remain silent, Lu Chen inquired, "What? Is there a problem?" The protagonist quickly waved his hands. "Huh? No problem at all." Now he could only pin his hopes on the Heaven's Path library. With this thought, he slowly placed his hand on the scroll. In an instant, all the information flooded into his brain. It actually worked. The next second, a confident smile appeared on the protagonist's face. "Master, you truly want me to appraise it?" Lu Chen said. "I would like to hear the details." The protagonist extended a finger. "Then I have an 8 character. Critique. Utterly nonsensical. What kind of rubbish is this?" These words shocked everyone present. "Young master, choose your words carefully. This is a painting the master just completed." Huang Yu, at the side, was on the verge of a complete breakdown. "It's over! It's over!" To say the master's painting is utterly nonsensical. You're clearly trying to get me killed, and Bai Sun seized the opportunity to mock. Is this the vastly learned and exceptionally talented person you were talking about? Suddenly, a stern shout interrupted them. "All of you be quiet!" At this moment, Master Lu Chen's gaze was sharp as he looked at the protagonist. "I didn't. No, this was the master's work. Please forgive my abruptness. Who would have thought Master Lu Chen would actually laugh? No matter. This is just a painting. I asked you to appraise it. We discuss its merits and flaws, not who painted it. Since Master says so, I am relieved. This painting any street artisan could produce. But if one can see the deeper layers, they would absolutely be astounded, deeming it heavenly." Hearing the protagonist's words, Master Lu Chen's smile widened. "Deeper layers? How does one see that?" "Very simple. If Master doesn't mind, I shall make a fool of myself." Saying this, he took out a small knife from his bosom. Seeing this, Bai Shun quickly berated him. "What do you think you're doing? This is the master's painting. If you damage it, can you afford to compensate?" However, the protagonist turned a deaf ear. He very decisively cut open the scroll with the knife. This seemingly weakling actually took a knife and cut open Master Lu Chen's painting. Everyone present broke out in a cold sweat from shock. Only Master Lu Chen himself remained silent, but an expression of disbelief flickered in his eyes. "The painting on this Zhuan paper is merely a fake." The protagonist said this as he peeled off a thin layer of paper from the scroll. The true artwork has long since permeated through the Zhuan paper and imprinted itself onto the sheepskin beneath. This scene left the other three gaping in astonishment. Master Lu Chen himself hadn't expected that this youth could see through his never-before-shown technique at a single glance. He also smiled and praised. Not bad at all." Then, pointing to a painting on the wall, he said, "Then take another look. At this painting?" Without the slightest hesitation, the protagonist reached out and touched it again. Information instantly flooded his brain, and then he spoke. "Although this painting is well done, it lacks a certain spirit. If I'm not mistaken, the painter has never actually seen this savage beast. When painting it, they merely relied on conjecture." Upon hearing this, Master Lu Chen was completely stunned. He had indeed never seen this crimson bear. "To paint this piece, I don't know how many books. I pored over and then imagined it in my mind. This youth could tell with a single glance and even said it lacked spirit. After the shock, he smiled and inquired, "Exactly where does it lack spirit? Could you elaborate, please?" Seeing this scene, Huang Yu's face was filled with disbelief. The Imperial Tutor was actually humbly seeking guidance from a teenager. How on earth did this fellow manage it? One could only see the protagonist calmly enlightening Lu Chen. The crimson bear, such a savage beast, has a streamlined body and excels at swift attacks. From this, one can infer that its aura is sharp, like a keen sword. To paint a savage beast, yet get its very spirit wrong. If that isn't conjecture, then what is? These words made Lu Chen exclaim his approval repeatedly. He felt even more admiration for the protagonist in his heart. He had seen through 2 paintings consecutively, and his insights were spot on. Although this youth looked young, he was a true master of calligraphy and painting. Xiao Yu, aren't you going to hurry up and introduce this young master to me? At this, Huang Yu looked rather embarrassed. What was your name again? Who knew that as soon as she said this, it would draw Lu Chen's displeasure?